Joining me now is Laila Hirani, and you're here to talk about the World Partnership Walk to address poverty. So it's been taking place across the world, around the world for 30 years, but in Regina 3 years, right?
Yes, it's our third year in Regina. So the walk was started in 1985 by a group of women in Vancouver, and now we are in its 30th year in Canada. And in 30 years, we have raised over $85 million.
85 million?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. And starting from 5 women who just decided to start this to raise money to address poverty.
Yes, so these were a group of women who had migrated to Canada from East Africa. And once they were settled in, they decided, you know, it was time to give back to the community. Because so many of us in Canada are immigrants, and we've had this opportunity to come here and get an education, make a decent life for ourselves. And now it's time to give back. So that's exactly how it started. But from 5 volunteers to having 40,000 people walk the walk across 10 major cities in Canada.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So what kinds of organizations does it support then, the money?
So the governing body of the World Partnership Walk is Aga Khan Foundation Canada, which started in 1980. But the World Partnership Walk itself supports different projects across Asia and Africa. And the projects could range anywhere between health, education, microfinance, rural support, entrepreneurship, covering a wide area, because development is not just, you know, giving a handout to people. Development is about giving a hand up and really creating long-term solutions towards alleviating that poverty and getting them out of those situations. And the best part about this walk is that 100% of the funds collected go directly towards those events.
Really?
Yes. So
wow, so there's no administrative cost in the middle at all?
Our administrative costs are covered separately, but all of us working for the walk are volunteers. So when I come in here, I'm doing it voluntarily, and everybody from their own expertise brings in their 2 cents, and this is exactly how the walk has been sustained for 10 years, for 30 years now.
So how did you get involved and why?
I am an immigrant from India, and you know, I grew up looking at the local conditions, and you know, when you see the differences in lifestyle back home and in Canada, you realize there's so much more that you can do. There are people living on less than $2 a day. In some of our projects, for example, in one of the projects in Egypt, people live there in less than 30 cents a day.
Wow.
And
really?
That's got to tell you something, that, you know, we really can afford to do something to create awareness, not just raise funds, but create awareness that there are people out there who need a help, and not necessarily that they need us to go there and teach them something, but the whole idea of participatory development that the Aga Khan Foundation pioneers is that go there and see what they need, what they're looking for, and then create tailor-made solutions that will work for those communities, instead of taking solutions just from the first world countries.
Right, the stuff that works for us may not work for them.
May not work for them.
Absolutely. So it's really community development that it's supporting.
It is. It is community development at all levels, you know, be it raising funds for schools in Bangladesh and having kids stay in primary schools, or going an extra step. For example, the clothing we wear, so much of it comes from Bangladesh. We never take the time to think that, you know, women who are making this clothing for us have kids as well. And sometimes the older siblings end up staying back home to take care of the kids, and that's when they lose out on their education as well. So by not just having primary schools, but by creating early childhood centers, they're not just helping the older kids, but also the younger kids get that quality education from a very young age.
Wow, so Regina has been involved in this just for 3 years. Why just 3 years?
So the walk actually started in Saskatoon 5 years ago, and I guess it has to do with, you know, having that sustainable solutions, right? The walk went on in Winnipeg for 19 years.
Oh, wow.
So now we're looking at creating something more in terms of having people involved, having volunteers involved in Toronto, Victoria, Vancouver, London, Ontario. We have a huge pool of volunteers, but as we notice an influx of immigrants coming into Regina, we have more people, and we also have more people from the local community, from high schools, from universities, from corporate sponsors. Chateau Regina is one of our biggest corporate sponsors.
Really? Wow.
So we have everybody coming in.
So if somebody's wanting to participate in the walk, how do they go about doing that? And how do they fundraise for it as well?
So you can either fundraise as an ambassador, or you can form your team. But since the walk is just next week on June 1st at the West Canada Lake, people can just come in. It's open for all ages, from kids to adults. We have face painting, we have henna tattoos, we have cultural programs, and we will be collecting funds on the walk day itself. But anybody can go to their website, www.worldpartnershipwalk.com/Regina, to donate funds. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, and you can find us at WP Walk on Facebook as well.
If people are wanting to volunteer, I mean, you're trying to gather more volunteers as well to continue this. How do they go about doing that?
If they're interested in volunteering, they can actually contact us at Regina at wpwwalk.com. And yeah, we need volunteers in all areas, from day setup to wrap down, from people who are wanting to perform, from people who are good at media communications and whatnot.
Right.
So yeah, there's a little bit for everybody in there.
That's great. Okay. And again, the walk is taking place where?
June 1st at West Canada Lake. We'll go around the lake. The weather seems to be really nice, so we're really looking forward to that. It starts at 10 a.m. and we'll have some warm-up activities before we start the walk. And once everybody's done the walk, we have cultural events and lip-smacking food, including some Indian food.
Oh,
so
that's wonderful.
I'm looking forward to seeing you there, Virginia.
It sounds like it'd be a great place to go on the
It
first.
should, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming in, and good luck on the walk.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back with Hannah and the high school scene.